Hello everyone. Okay, myself Swapnil Jyot basically. Uh, this is my project. Okay, in this given data set, R&D spend, administration cost, marketing spend, and of 50 companies along with the profit earned has been given. Okay, the target is to prepare the ML model to which can predict the profit values of the company, the value of the R&D spend, administration cost, and marketing spend. Also, we have to construct different regression model algorithm, divide the data into training states and test set, calculate the different regression matrices, choose the best model. Okay, this is our project. Okay, and I have to use the Python model to training all these things. Okay, now I have to come on the basically Jupyter notebook. Okay, now firstly I have to import our libraries. Basically we have to use Panda libraries for using for data frames. Okay, for basically working on the data frame we use the numpy libraries for working on the basically mathematical models and arrays. Okay, and matrices. Okay, for matplotlib for plotting our graphs, and cbond libraries for plotting basically the histogram and heat map, and we have to use scikit-learn libraries to import all the algorithms, basically linear regression algorithm, decision tree regression algorithm, random forest algorithm. Okay, SVR algorithm. How this all this algorithm will work, I have to uh, explain in our PPT and the report. Okay, then for our basically plotting on matrices we have to use this function. R2 score has been used to uh, plot the accuracy, basically the print the accuracy of our models. Okay, that which model has the highest accuracy. Okay, from this pd.read function we have to give the location of the CSV file as an argument of this function. Okay, then we have to print this data. R&D spend, administration, marketing spend is our x-axis, basically independent variable. Profit is our dependent variable. Okay, now df.sorted function. What is the df.sorted function do? Df.sorted function do that a specific column it will convert the basically our data frame, a specific column of the data frame into ascending order or descending order. Example, R&D spend will convert in the ascending order. From 0 it will goes to 16,000 maybe, you can estimate it. Okay, so df.sort function basically because we have to use of this function on the next step. Okay, now in the next step we have to analyze our data. On the first step we have to basically plot a histogram model. Okay, basically on this histogram model is basically so that the frequency of our profit, that is profit gain the highest frequency. Okay, at you can see that the we have to get the maximum profit near about the 10,000 for 10 times. Okay, and the minimum at the 25,000. This is not at 10,000, this is out near about 1 lakh. Okay, so on the next step we have to see that how does the our R&D spend this profit, that the how the variables, independent variable is dependent, or the yes, that how the dependent variable will be changed with the help of the independent variable. That the, okay, what is the relation between them? So we have to use the df.sorted function because on the x-axis we have to move the data in the basically in ascending or descending manner. Okay, so we have to use the df.sorted function. Okay, this function will convert the x-axis. Sorry, yes. Firstly, we have to on the x-axis we have to store the R&D spend column in the form of the numpy array or the matrices form. Okay, so that we have to able to give this value in the plot that, sorry, plt dot plot function, because plt dot plot function take the argument xy argument in the form of the matrices. Okay, in the form of the numpy arrays. So we have to use dot values function. Okay, now we can see that the basically profit will partially change with the R&D spend. Okay, from this graph we can see that the profit will change partially with the R&D spend. On the next graph, administration based profit, because we can see that the administration has much more fluctuation. Profit have much more fluctuation on the data that given to the administration. Okay, so we cannot predict from this any graph. Okay, on the marketing spend based profit, we can see that the marketing spend partially will linearly with the profit, but not correctly. We can say that the marketing spend change profit, because this graph has also fluctuation, many fluctuation. Okay, so on the conclusion we say that a profit will change partially linearly with the R&D spend. Profit depend partially with the marketing spend. Profit is almost independent of the parameter administration. On the data wrangling we have to go on the next step, data wrangling. What is the data wrangling basically say? On the data wrangling we can see that how many are the null values, that is any null values in our data or not. Okay, we can clearly see that there is not any null values in our data, because if any null values in our data, then on this position it will goes to true. Okay, So we have to plot the heat map. That heat map told that the if any null values or not, because if any null values in any column, it will show from the white bar. Okay, it will be stored from the white bar. Okay, there is not any null values. Okay, now we have to come on the training and testing data, because we have to split our data in the training and testing. Okay, in two form. Okay, firstly we have to use the some part of the data for training our model. Then on the testing model, with the on the behalf of the testing model, we have to predict our data. Okay, so we have to on the x variable we have to store our data frame. Okay, that data frame will not include the profit column. Okay, because the profit column will included in the y variable. Okay, because y variable, because profit column is our dependent variable. Okay, dependent column. Okay, because we have to predict profit. Okay, so the profit is act as a dependent variable. Okay, yes, and excluding profit, all the three are the independent variable: R&D spend, administration, marketing spend. So on the x-axis we have to store this data frame, and the y-axis I have to store the data frame of the profit. So on this argument, basically, so on this function, train test split function, we have to give the argument x and y test size, because on which basis we have to split our data, and the random set, that on which random manner we have to split our data. Okay, we have to print our x10, we have to print our y10. Okay, so we have to build our regression model. Okay, we have to firstly we have to import our, basically we have to store this all the algorithm in the lr variable. Okay, so lr dot fit function, basically in lr dot fit function we have to give our x10 data frame, y10 data frame. Okay, so with the help of this data frame, our linear regression algorithm has been, okay, linear regression algorithm has been trained. Okay, okay, so we have to give these two argument in this function. Okay, now our linear regression algorithm has been trained. We have to do same thing with the all the model: decision tree model, random forest model, and support vector regression model. Okay, now we have to use all this function to predict our mean absolute error, mean squared error, RQ scores. Okay, because y predict.lr will store the predicted data on the behalf of the x data, because now our lr model has got trained. Okay, so on the lr.predict function, if I have to put our x test data, if I have to give argument x test data, then it will give the predicted data on the behalf of x test data. Okay, so we have to compare y predict lr, basically the with the y test. With the y test we have to predict, so with the y predict data and y test data, we have to compare both of this. Okay, according to this we have to predict our RQ scores. Okay, these are the regression matrices. Okay, these are our R2 scores, and this is our mean squared error and mean absolute error. Okay, then we have to make our regression matrices. Okay, these are regression matrices. We have to give the dictionary in the argument of this function pd.data frame. Okay, then these are regression matrices. Okay, okay, in the data frame. But because in this we can see that we have to directly print it, but in this form we have to in the form of the basically data frame. Okay, now we have to make a data frame of our R2 scores. We have to give the models. Okay, and with this is our R2 score. We have to make the R2 score model. Okay, and on the next step we have to because we can see that these two R2 score is in the non-terminating decimal form. Okay, this is not terminating decimal form, but we need to only two decimal point. Okay, we does not need all this 3379. Okay, so we have to use this function R2 R2, sorry, because we have to round out basically score. We have to round out the score. Okay, we have to use this algorithm for rounding our scores. Okay, so we have to import colors. Okay, uh, this is our basically the string form. Okay, so this is our plt dot plot bar. This plt dot plot bar takes argument R2 score model data frame, that what the data frame has been plotted on the x-axis, what the data frame has been plotted on y-axis. We can see that on the x-axis we have to use the R2 score model, because yes, R2 score, and in the y-axis we have to use the regression, basically the regression. Basically on the x-axis will show the regression. Okay, and on the y-axis it will plot the R2 scores. Okay, so we have to plot the title, we have to plot the regression model. We can see that this is our title. Okay, we have to define our range of the y-axis, then we have to plot that. Okay, and we can clearly see that the LRM have the highest linear regression value, sorry, R2 score, LRM has the highest R2 score.